How you doing, man?
I am doing well, thank you for
All right.
asking.
All right. You can introduce yourself and tell us about this great new book.
Good
And
afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Janeide A. Matthews-Chillis. I am here today at the Ford King Art Studio in 92 Washington Street, Paterson, New Jersey. I am actually promoting my new book, Reset, Breaking the Barriers of Anxiety and Depression. I started writing about 12 years ago after sustaining a stroke on the operating table. And the first book I actually published was The ABCs of Brain Education. And it talks about educating children and adults on the seriousness of brain education and how to basically see the signs and how to help them cope and get through brain injury. My writing journey has been very, very challenging, but at the same time, it's been what's the word I want to say? It's been very encouraging and very empowering, not just for myself, but also to my readers. One of my other books is A Minister's Sin, and this book was birthed out through brokenness, and it talks about God's love, and it's poems of love, lust, and lies. This is a sequel here, A Minister's Sin. The second sequel is actually A Minister's Sin Revealed. And this book talks about the art of forgiveness. Because when we go through brokenness, and as you can see the shattered glass, as we go through brokenness, those that have caused us to be broken or contributed to our brokenness, we have to take time out to forgive them. So the book, A Minister's Sin Revealed, is about forgiveness. And then I have another children's book that I absolutely love, and it's a book of affirmations. It says Seeds of the Future, and it's inspired by a young lady, and her book is called Seeds of Transformation, and her name is Najma Davis. She's one of my spiritual daughters. So this book is for children, and it's a great, great book of affirmations to help children know who they are and whose they are. Now today, I'm very proud to announce that my book Reset is doing exceptionally well. And this book was birthed out 2 years ago, and God has given me the book. And Reset is an acronym for renewing your mind, exploring, situating yourself, excluding, and travailing. And those acronyms I talk about in my book, and being resilient and how we can be resilient. Also in the book, I talk about self-evaluation. Self-evaluation is something that we all need to do. We all need to evaluate who we are and what our purpose is. Chapter 4 talks about the 5 G's of life: the good, the goodness of God, the grit that we go through, His grace, His glory, and gratitude. And so this book right here is part of a sequel of A Minister's Sin, but at the same time, it's a book that helps because we're dealing with so much with this pandemic and COVID-19. I felt like people need to know that there are ways that you can break down barriers of anxiety and depression even now. All you have to do is push the button, reset, right? And then my fiance, I was writing a book on a spiritual guide for healing, and I wasn't quite sure what to name it. And we were talking one night, and he says, well, what about internal growth, since it's about healing? So at this time, I'm going to just bring in my fiance real quick, who's now my manager, and just give him a shout out and a thank you for giving me this amazing title, Internal Growth. And his name is Garrett Pratt. I'm going to ask Garrett to just come over real quick, so you can just see this wonderful man that God has placed in my life. And this book right here is a book called A Spiritual Guide to Healing. And it was because of him